Let's take a look how to program the timing. The timing is the first parameter in a programming sequence. So we're going to put the timer into the programming mode by pushing two buttons and supplying power. The light comes on, we release the buttons and the light will go off after a couple seconds. Now we need to program the time. So by pushing the button 1, we can program the time for a couple seconds by holding that button for that duration. So if we want for 1 second, we want to set the time to 1 second, we will just push the button for 1 second. If we need 10 seconds, you hold the button for 10 seconds. Same thing with the T2. You just push a second button. If you need for 5 seconds, just hold it for 5 seconds. And that's it. If you already set your function, then you just disconnect the power and connect the power back. And here's your couple seconds delay. Now, if we need to configure the time for more than a couple seconds, and not just minutes, let's talk about the days or 10 days or 30 days, then we would like to change the configuration into the hours, minutes, second mode. So what we did initially was done in a normal mode where we just hold the button for the duration. We can switch it to hours, minutes, seconds mode where we configure actual hours, minutes, and seconds for the delay. In the manual, you'll find a section that talks about it. There are 8 parameters that we need to set. It's 1/30 of the second, seconds, minutes, minutes multiplied by 10, hours, hours multiplied by 10, by 100, and 1,000. And once you sum this all together, you get your duration. So if we want to set the timer to 4 days, then it will be 96 hours. So we would set hours to 9. Hours multiplied by 10 to 9, so it will be 90 hours, and hours to 6, and it will sum it up, and it will make a total as a 96 hours. So let's take a look how to set the timer in the hours and minutes, seconds mode. So first of all, we're putting the timer into the programming mode. So now we're in the timing. We're gonna skip all those steps. We're gonna go to the 5 and program the hours, minutes, seconds. To skip the timing, we just push two buttons together, and that skips the timing, goes to the function. We're going to skip the function. We're gonna go to the output mode, skip the output mode, skip output type, and now we at the programming mode, and we're going to push the green or button number 2, and then we're going to disconnect the power because we need to restart the programming procedure. Now we're going to restart the programming procedure, and now the timer knows that it was set for hours, minutes, seconds. So our time T1 and T2 would be sum of our times, right? So to set it to, let's say, 5 seconds and 5/30 of the seconds, so 5 seconds plus 5/30 of the seconds, we need to configure the 1/30 of the seconds first. We're going to push the button 1 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to hold it until the light blinks fast, and that means it saves that configuration 1/30 and moves to seconds. Now seconds, we're going to push it also 5 times since we want 5 seconds. 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to hold it, and it moves to the minutes. Now the rest of the parameters, minutes, hours, are all 0, so we're going to skip them. We have to set all 8 of them, but we're going to skip the minutes by holding the button, and it blinks and moves to the minutes by 10, moves to the hours, hours multiplied by 10, hours multiplied by 100, and hours multiplied by 1,000. And the last parameter, the light would stay on for a couple more seconds, tells you visual aid tells you that it's end of the sequence. Now if you want to change it now, you can go through the same steps and change it without disconnecting the power. go again and change it to some other times, and also use the button number 2 to set up the T2 times. So if the T1 and T2s are different, you can use that. So we set it to 5 seconds, 5 seconds and 5/30 of the seconds. Our timer is in the function 2, so we're going to disconnect the power and reconnect it. And okay, it's here you go, connect it, and it's going to stay there for 5 seconds and 5/30 of the seconds, and disconnect the power, connect it again. So this is how you set the time in hours, minutes, seconds mode. If you want to change it back to the original mode, to the normal mode, you can go back, put the timer into the programming, go through to the step number 5 and change it, and then restart the programming, and now you will be in a normal programming mode, or you can reset the timer. We have a separate video how to reset the timer, but it's pretty simple. You go into the programming mode by pushing 2 buttons and holding it, supplying power. Once you see the light on, you disconnect the power, then you connect it again the second time, and then you keep holding those buttons and do it 5 times. So this is the 3, this is the 4, and on the 5th time it will blink. You release the buttons and you wait until light goes off, and now it's in the default, it went back to the default settings. You disconnect the power and you can start it all over again. So if we connected the power again, it will blink for a short period of time because it goes to the default function 2 and 0.2 second interval.